Hey, Luke here at the Outdoor Boys YouTube channel. I'm wondering whether I can ride my bike 200 miles in one day. I think we should give it a try. Well, it's been a couple years since I've ridden a bike and I have no idea how fast or far I can ride. So we're gonna go out and do a little time trial. Yeah, it's just like riding a bike. You never forget how. If I'm gonna try to ride 200 miles in a single day, the slowest I could go is about 10 miles per hour. So what I'm gonna do today is just ride for 1 hour straight without sprinting and just kind of see where I'm at.
Here comes Speed Racer, he's a demon on wheels.
All right, this is what 10 miles per hour looks like. I'd have to maintain this for 20 hours. It's been exactly 1 hour and I averaged 13.36 miles per hour. It's not bad. Now I gotta go ride back to my car. I know I could do this for several hours, but I don't know if I could do it all day. Additionally, I burned 650 calories in just 1 hour. So if I'm not gonna gas out, I need to bring and eat about 650 calories per hour while I'm on my bike. I'm gonna have to think hard about how I'm gonna do this. Well, I've established I can ride fast enough. Now the question is, can I ride long enough? So I'm gonna take Tommy on a little bit of a biking overnight trip here, just to kind of do a shakedown of my gear and see how things work out. It's gonna be really fun. We're gonna head up to Pennsylvania and try some stuff out. All right, Tommy, you ready for this?
Yep.
All right, Tom, over this way.
I want to ride my bicycle.
Uh-oh, something's not right. Oh, I got a flat.
Did anything come off?
Much later.
Oh. Well, it's been a little while since me and Tommy's failed biking trip, but I've got the bike fixed. Got some nice new tires on it. I got this cell phone case right here and a little bag for my batteries and snacks. But it's been over a month and a half since that trip and I haven't been on my bike at all. I had a horrible lung infection that lasted about a month. And me and the family went to Portugal for a week and now it's the beginning of winter and time has gotten away from me. If I'm gonna do this trip, I really gotta do it now. So I'm just gonna try to ride 200 miles without exercising or practicing at all. What could go wrong?
The next day.
All right, guys, it's the big day and it's cold. We've got frost on the windshield. I ended up renting a car. Didn't want to make my wife do a 6-hour round trip to drop me off. Whew. That's the end of the easy part. So I'm about 3 miles away from the trailhead, so I got some riding to do before I can even start. All right, guys, here we are at the beginning of the C&O Canal path. It's a 186-mile path that follows the Potomac River all the way from here in Cumberland, Maryland to Washington, D.C. And this is one of the old canal boats. So there you go, that's the Potomac River. We're gonna parallel that river all the way to Washington, D.C. and then passed on down to Mount Vernon, the home of George Washington. If I don't die first, we'll see what happens. Check it out, we're on a little viaduct. The canal had to cross little creeks that were coming into the Potomac, and the boats had to sail over those. So they built bridges that went over the stream and filled those bridges full of water so the boats could sail over the creeks. And this is an old one that's filled up with dirt now. I'm glad I got these gravel tires on the bike now. There's a few muddy spots. Well, guys, I got my first 10 miles under my belt and just about an hour to do it. And the mud and the pack is slowing me down a bit more than I expected. We got one of the lock keeper houses behind us. Because the boats were sailing upstream, the canal was kind of like a stair step, and each step was a lock. So the boats would sail along the canal into this lock. They would shut the gates, flood the lock, it would rise it up to the elevation of the next canal, and they'd open the gates and keep going. I'll tell you what, I don't love the ice and cold, but there's no bugs, it's not hot and humid, and I've seen only 2 people so far.
Caught behind Venetian blinds, how to reach for the city lights. This ain't where I belong. Hey, look at me, man, what I've become. I've been running east, looking for a sunset, digging deep since '99. What I thought was gone was sitting in my pocket in plain sight all along. I think it's time for me to go burn all.
I'm about a quarter of a mile from the Paw Paw Tunnel, and apparently it's closed. And I have got to do a 1.5 mile detour, pushing my bike up and over that little mountain there. Oh. Son of a gun. I don't love this detour, but the view's nice. I'm tired, how are you doing? The construction site is just shutting down. I'm just waiting for the last truck to come up the road before I can go down. See ya. See ya. This is not a mountain bike. This is not a mountain bike. No! So that's the C&O Canal Trail right there. Apparently there was a rock slide in that canyon, and that's why they had to block off the tunnel. Oh, it's getting cold. Whoa, there is a lot of ice on the trail. The sun's setting and the temperature is just dropping like a rock. It's so cold out here, my fingers are going numb. And it's supposed to get down to 17 degrees Fahrenheit tonight. You know, there's a lot of work, but I'm enjoying myself. I've got a bunch of audiobooks downloaded on my phone, and I'm just sitting here cruising down the bike path, middle of the night. Got the place to myself. Man, we've got a lot of trees down over the path. This is like the 3rd one I've had to go over. Oh. Just taking a quick snack break. Got this chunk of Gouda cheese here and a bunch of fresh dates. This little slab of cheese right here is 820 calories. Whoa. I think I've had to cross a dozen of those logs already. Ugh. Look at this. Yeah, an opossum. Hey, buddy. Oh, that's cool. I've seen a lot of wildlife out. All right, guys, I just hit the 50-mile mark. Well, I've done 60 miles so far, and it's about 10 o'clock, and I am freezing, and I need to just stop and get some warm food and get camp set up. It is too cold. But I think 60 miles is the most I've ever traveled on bike in one go. So that's kind of cool. Some water boiling to make some dinner, and I'm gonna set up my tent. Oh, my leg. Oh, I got a problem. It's so cold outside right now that the butane is frozen and my stove won't work. I'm gonna have to build a fire. Dehydrated pasta primavera. It's hot, It's got calories. I'm sure it's gonna taste amazing. Oh yeah. Spoon's shaking, my hands are so cold. Got a cup. I got a slightly banged up chocolate brownie and a cup of raspberry hot chocolate. Oh, that is so good. I got a liter of boiled water. I'm gonna put that in my sleeping bag to get all nice and toasty. Well, I took a bunch of Advil and now I'm just getting my muddy clothes off. I'm hopping into bed. I am exhausted. Oh, that feels so good with the water bottle in there. I'll see you guys in the morning because we got a lot of riding yet to do. The little things in life, a hot meal and a stove that's working. I was only able to fit about a gallon of water in my bag and I'm mostly done with that. So I went down to the river and filled up this water filter with some river water, and we're gonna filter out and fill all of our water bladders and bottles. Hot rehydrated biscuits and gravy. It's not the best food in the world, but it's warm food. I tell you what, that hit the spot, but this entire meal was only 620 calories. That's only good for about 1 hour of riding. Every time I put on these bicycle helmets, I feel like Toad from Mario Brothers.
I'm the best!
I think we're good. The C&O Canal Trail is run by the National Park, and they've got these campsites every 3 to 5 miles, and they're free. I mean, as long as you're hiking or biking, you can just use them. No registration, no permits, no nothing. And it's really unique in the National Park system. Ooh. Oh, the old haunches are a little sore. We're starting nice and early. It's just barely past sunrise. I think we're gonna put on some serious miles today if my butt can hold out. Just riding my bike through the town of Hancock here. There's lots of little towns like this. If you're willing to do a little extra planning, you could work it so you do the entire trail and never have to camp. You can stay in a hotel and stuff. The trail's in much better shape here. I'm going a lot faster, not having to drive through mud and pull my bike over logs. Check it out, guys. That's a piebald white-tailed deer. Those are really rare. See that? You see how instead of being brown, he's like mostly white with little spotches of brown? That's a pigment mutation and animals get. And when you see an animal with that mutation, they're called piebald. Well, I originally started off with the very lofty goal of doing 200 miles in 24 hours. And it's pretty clear at this point I'm not going to make my goal. I've done about 65 miles and I have 4 hours left in my 24-hour period. But that's okay. I'm just going to adjust my goals a little bit. I want to get 100 miles within my 24-hour period. That means I've got 35 miles to go in 4 hours. But if I can do that, I'm going to be pretty proud of that. I'm a 44-year-old dad who is not trained at all riding a beach cruiser with 3 gears. If I can do 100 miles in 24 hours, that's not bad. But I'd also like to finish this trip. If I could do the full 200 miles, I'd be really proud of that. Did a pretty rigorous hour, 20 minutes, just stopping, doing a little 3-minute walk, eat some snacks, get back on my bike. Yeah, check it out, one of the old locks. Every time there's a lock, I get to go downhill. Oh, check this out. Oh, this is an old mill from 1790. This is Charles Mill. they'd use water power to turn the big wheel and grind up meal and grist. 230 years old, that's pretty cool. There's so much history on this trail. I've already passed dozens of historic buildings, battlefields, cemeteries. So this dam's a little bit famous. Apparently Stonewall Jackson and his army attacked this dam and tried to destroy it during the Civil War. Oh. Oh, we got rain. I know I'm nerding out on this, but I think it's just amazing that men used pickaxes and shovels to build bridges for boats to sail over water. And they did this like 200 years ago. This is an aggressive pace, but I really want that 100 miles. I just passed the 94-mile marker. I'm gonna have to push hard if I want to make that 100 miles. I turned off my phone to save battery, so I'm not 100% sure where I am time-wise, but I know I'm close. But the trail is really muddy and it's slowing me down. Just past mile number 95. 96 miles down. Oh, dang it. Looks like I gotta take another detour. Wonder how far of a detour this is gonna be. Oh, I don't like this detour at all. This detour is headed back the way we came. This bike is a beach cruiser. It's only got 3 gears. It's not meant to go uphill. And with this pack on, it is brutal. It's slowing me way down. This detour goes on for miles. Ah, come on. Oh, check it out. It's an Osage orange. It's an edible fruit here on the East Coast. Slice it up and grill it, it's actually not too bad. But I don't need to carry any more weight. So, the Osage orange tree is also good for making traditional bows. Well, the detour signs just disappeared, so I'm using Google Maps to try to get back to the C&O Canal path. All right, I think we found it. I just saw my first mile marker since we got back on the trail. We're at 99 miles. All right, one more mile. Oh, there's the mile marker. I did it. 100 miles. All right, moment of truth. Now I gotta pull up my phone and see what the time is. I missed it by 53 minutes. Those detours killed me, but I biked 100 miles. I'm still proud of that. And my phone's fully charged. That's good. 100 miles under my belt. I'm halfway through the trip. And despite some setbacks, I've had a really good time. And we haven't even seen the best stuff yet. In 20 miles, we're gonna get hit Harper's Ferry, which is, in my opinion, the best Civil War site in Virginia. Then we're gonna go past the Potomac Falls, which are these massive waterfalls just outside of DC. We're gonna go through the heart of the nation's capital. We're gonna get to see a lot of the memorials. We're gonna go past the Pentagon, Arlington Cemetery, and go to Mount Vernon, the home of George Washington. If you're into US history, this has got to be the coolest bike trip in the nation. And the shocking thing is it's all free. There's no entrance fees, no permits, no camping fees, and there's almost nobody on this trail. It's an absolutely awesome outdoor adventure just outside the nation's capital. Oh, it's like an old covered bridge. Oh, that's cool. So much history here. I just don't have enough time to read all the plaques and stop and explore every building. Apparently this dam was built in 1856. Oh. Just putting on the miles, listening to another audiobook. I'm on my 3rd one already. I think there's a cave up in those rocks. Dang it, I should have brought my light up here. That cave seems to go back a little ways. My legs don't like this. Well, I've done a little over 50 miles today. I've got about 10 before I get to Harper's Ferry and about 30 before I can stop for the night. Oh, you know, my legs are gummy, but not all that sore. My bottom hurts a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. Well guys, I made it to Harper's Ferry, but it is pouring rain. Now I'm just taking shelter under this bridge. If it was a little bit earlier, I'd cross the bridge into Harper's Ferry, get myself a warm meal, but I'm just gonna go eat some cheese and dates and go for it. Now, if you ever take the Appalachian Trail and hike all the way from Georgia to Maine, you have to hike on this section of the C&O Canal Trail. So I'm actually on the Appalachian Trail right now. I have now done 100 miles and I have been biking for 15 hours today. I am exhausted and a little bit nauseous. We've got a camp just 4/10 of a mile down the road, and that's where we're going to stay tonight. All right, I'm putting this down. I'm completely out of water and a bit dehydrated. Up until November, they have water pumps at each one of these campsites, but they shut them down for the winter, so I gotta go to the river and get my own. Luckily, every one of these campsites are on the shores of the Potomac, so lots of water. Gonna fill up my water bottle first, then my camel pack. Oh, that starts up so much easier today. Helps when it's not 17 degrees Fahrenheit. Got this little MRE tortilla thing here. I'm gonna just stick it in the pot, let it warm up. All right, they claim this is honey barbecue wrapped in a tortilla. Yeah, something like that. But it's food. Chicken and rice. Oh, I'm so hungry. Oh, it's midnight and I am exhausted. I'm hitting the sack. I'm gonna put up the camera. I'll see you guys in the morning.
Good morning. Oh my goodness, I have never slept so soundly on a camp out as I have on these trips. I done tuckered myself out. It's my final day and we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it today. But I need to get up and move quickly. My wife Becca's gonna pick me up at Mount Vernon just a little bit after sunset. So I've got to get there. It's raining right now and packing up in the rain stinks. But no helping it. I just gotta do it. All right. I have had so much trouble with this butane. Okay, I'm gonna stick my butane in my coat. I got the spicy Southwest style fajita breakfast. Not my favorite, but it's warm and it's not trail mix, and that's what I need right now. All right, time to pack up and get out of here. We've got 51 miles to do today. Oh, woo, my. Well, I've got about 3 miles under my belt and all my muscles are starting to warm up and everything feels pretty good except my left knee. Taking my first scheduled break and I'm feeling a little better. All right, back in the saddle. This is one of the weirs that lets water into the canal system from the Potomac. It's what they use to keep the water levels up. This is one of the historic lock keeper houses. Apparently you can reserve them and stay here if you don't want to camp. That sounds a lot warmer than what I did. This is Great Falls Tavern. These locks are still functioning, and in the summertime, they'll flood them and pull a canal boat with the donkey that you can ride in.
This is one of the canal boats, but it's winter time, so they got it up on blocks. Either that or somebody stole the tires. So this is the Maryland side of Potomac Falls, and this is why they built the canal, to get around all this. Because it's winter, the water's a little bit lower than usual. This can be really crazy after a big rainstorm. Oh ho ho! Only got 10 more miles to the end of the C&O Canal Trail. Woo! Alright guys, welcome to DC. This is Fletcher's Cove, and the best part is, I'm on pavement. It is so much easier to pedal on this pavement. I can go like 2 miles per hour faster on pavement than I can on that muddy dirt trail. I took a little bit of a wrong turn and I lost the path. When you're getting overtaken by a Zamboni, you know you've made a wrong turn. Yeah. This is it. This is the very beginning of the C&O Canal. This right here is the very first lock, and this is where the canal boats would enter to go upstream. All right, I have now completed the C&O Canal Trail. Now, it took me exactly 49 hours to complete the entire C&O Canal Trail. The unofficial record for a bicyclist is 11 hours, 30 minutes, give or take. That's insane. Now, right now, I've traveled 187 miles, so my journey is not yet through. We're gonna go into DC, through the monuments, across Memorial Bridge, past the Pentagon, Arlington Cemetery, and down to Mount Vernon. That's the Watergate Hotel where President Nixon got caught trying to bug the Democratic Party headquarters. That's the Kennedy Center right there. That right there is the Lincoln Memorial. It's where Martin Luther King did his I Have a Dream speech. There's the Washington Monument and the US Capitol behind it. Right over there in the woods is where the Korean War Memorial is. This is the Vietnam Memorial. It's got the names of every serviceman killed in the Vietnam War. I am crazy hungry. I have got to get something to eat. All right, I've got 3 hot dogs. I've got old overpriced hot dogs. I'm sitting on a wet bench on a cold day, and this feels so luxurious. This tastes amazing. That right there is the entrance to Arlington Cemetery. That house up on the hill belonged to Robert E. Lee. When he left the Union to fight for the Confederacy, they confiscated his estate and used it to bury Union soldiers. All right, guys, welcome to Virginia, our 4th state in the trip. Well, 3rd, DC doesn't count. All right, this is the Mount Vernon bike trail. That building behind me is the Pentagon, where all 6 branches of the military have their headquarters. That's Reagan National Airport. So this is Old Town Alexandria, Virginia. I think this was the first Confederate city to fall to the Union. Well, I'm just a few miles away from Mount Vernon, and if my calculations are correct, I just did 200 miles, and it took me only 51 hours. Not setting any records, but I did 100 miles in a day, and I went over 200 miles, so I'm proud of that. But we still got a few more miles till out at the end of the trail. Oh, mile 0. I made it. So this is Mount Vernon. This is the estate of George Washington. It's a museum now, so you can pay an admissions fee and get in, and there's all sorts of stuff to see. But I don't ever want to walk again, so I'm gonna get a seat and wait for Becca. So guys, that's it. I've done about 210 miles. Oh, 3 miles to get to the C&O Canal Trailhead, 184 miles on the C&O Canal, and a little over 20 miles to get from the end of the C&O Canal Trail to here to Mount Vernon. Plus there were a few detours and roundabouts and other things. And it took me 52 hours. I'm tired. I'm really tired. Now I just need to sit and wait for my Becca to come pick me up.
You're safe! I missed you!
I missed you! If you like this video, don't forget to check out the Outdoor Boys YouTube channel where we have hundreds of videos just like this. And don't forget to click subscribe so you can see other great videos every Saturday morning. And hit that bell button and you'll get notifications. Thanks for watching.